So these are considered consoles by some people. I would consider them expansions. You would consider them expansions. The first one, I think, is the most relevant thing that Sega's ever done as far as an expansion would go, which is Sega CD.
Sega CD. Man, I got a story on the Sega CD. Man, I remember I was so excited when the Sega CD was coming out. Just because it was, it was a CD platform, better sound, better graphics, animation. As everyone knows, I'm all into anime, and I was like, cartoons on my CD. Oh, this is great. In my games, this is great.
FMB.
FM, all over it. Sega CD, man. When the Sega CD came out, I pre-ordered it at my electronics boutique. I called out of work. I told my
you
boss
worked there. You worked there. You called out of work.
I didn't work there yet.
Okay.
I didn't work there yet. This is before I actually started working there.
Okay.
And I called out of work because it was supposed to come out that the day of release. And it was about, I think it was maybe 10 of us like kind of hanging around before the mall opened, to get our Sega CD. And the shipment didn't show. So we were like, wait, what? So they were like, okay, it's coming. The store manager was really cool, and he knew we were kind of hanging around. He's like, we're tracking it. It's somewhere, but we're gonna make sure you guys get your systems today. I'm like, okay.
Let me throw you a question in here real quick. Were there pre-orders at this time? Were they sold out? And how many people were waiting?
Yes, there were pre-orders. Yes, they were sold out. And there was 10 or 11 of us in line.
Okay. I just wanted to know for myself because I wasn't even in the pre-order game at that point. I got in there a few years later, but thank you.
Yep. And we waited. And again, shipment never showed. So now it's like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. We've waited there all day. And he was like, it's coming. We're trying to figure out what's going on. Other stores have gotten theirs. So then the DM gets involved, and he's like, we're going to find your systems. Don't worry, we'll get them. So then a couple of more hours go by. It's about 7 o'clock. The mall closes at 9. We're like, okay. He's like, okay. So now he's like, I'll be back. I'm going to personally pick up your systems from another location.
Oh my God.
So it turns out they were delivered to another electronics boutique that was like far away. So he went to get them.
Oh, wow. So they just, that was like whoever the delivery company was, they messed up and just delivered
somewhere else,
an extra batch to somebody else by accident.
Yep. So we knew he was coming back. The mall was closing. They got permission for us to hang in the mall. So it's 11 o'clock now at night.
My God.
The 11 of us are still sitting there hanging around the mall, and the DM bought us pizza and food, and was delivered.
That's
in the mall.
Awesome.
It was because we waited. We were diehard. We wanted our Sega CD, and he shows up at about 11:15ish with our systems, and got home, popped it in just to see animation on my game for the first time. Man, it was all worth it.
This is something, just so you guys know, that would never happen today.
No.
Corporations would never do this. They'd be like, oh, something screwed up. Come back tomorrow. Have a good day. That's all you would get out of a corporation today. They certainly wouldn't be telling you to stay in the mall. They wouldn't ask the mall to stay open. The mall wouldn't stay open either. They'd be like, get the hell out of here. No, we're not staying open so you guys can sell a system. Like, none of this would happen today. The DM wouldn't be buying you pizza. And the funny part about all of this is that experience was more valuable to you.
It was.
Than probably anything else involving the Sega CD at all, because they went an extra mile to help you. Where anybody else would have just been like, at least now, in 2021, anybody else would have been like, kiss my ass, come back tomorrow. We'll have your system then, if you're lucky. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. A couple of the guys like left and came back because they lived close. I wasn't driving home. I was like 45 minutes from the mall. I wasn't going home and then coming back, so there was like maybe a handful of us that really stayed all day. Some people came back later. They left their phone numbers, and the stores, would contact those people that left and say, hey, this is what's going on. You may want to try to get back. This was like 9 o'clock. The mall will close. You may want to get back before the mall closes because they won't let you in if you come after. If you're in, you're in. It was great. Now, granted, in the long term, was the Sega CD worth it? Some would argue. I found enjoyment in it. I found enjoyment in quite a few of the games.
There were some good titles for sure.
There were some good titles, but yeah. So that's my Sega CD story.
Yeah, I mean that's phenomenal. Like to me, like I know I wasn't there with you, but that's an exciting, like that's something people don't hear every day. Like that's more exciting to me than even owning the system. Like that experience. Like I wish I had that experience with you, just because it's so unique. It's not going to happen now.
They won't.
It could have only happened then.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. It was just different times, I guess.
Yeah, this was like when
different times
when they first started, like when these companies first started doing like midnight launches, they were something special. They were something unique. Like when you went to like when you see video footage of Halo 3 launching or GTA San Andreas launching, those were like events. And even if these companies tried to replicate them, they can't, because there's digital games now. Exactly. 70% of your audience isn't even at the store anymore.
I mean, me and you went through a few of those midnight launches together, and it was fun.
It was different, man. It was
so much fun.
Halo 3 was incredible. Incredible is the best way I could describe it. Like those old Madden launches, like when Madden was like still really popular and people could not download games, they had to go to a store to get the copy of the game. Like those were something unique. Like I know that these companies want to replicate, what used to be, but you can't do that anymore. You can do it on like a microcosm level and try to like bring in like really cool stuff. But those experiences that we've had in the past, it's sad, but no one's going to be able to experience those again. At least to that degree.
No, that's just sad. But the Sega CD had its handful of really standout titles. Sonic CD. Sonic CD was actually pretty good.
Sonic CD, most people would consider was the greatest Sonic game for a long time. Maybe like two better, maybe like three better. Sonic CD is on the upper echelon of Sonic games. And then there was a complete downfall until Sonic Generations, Sonic Mania. So for a long time, people considered Sonic CD the best of the last versions of Sonic that we had for a very long time.
Yes, it was. It had the animated intro, Sonic running. It had superior sound.
Great music. Great music, like just 90s like jams, man.
And even though I enjoyed my Sega CD, and I still love my Sega CD to this day, and I'll defend it tooth and nail. It didn't. The one limitations with the Genesis, as much as we love our Genesis, the color palette was limited, and so when the Sega CD came out, we thought that okay, it was gonna like quadruple the color palette and make sure things would like really pop and the colors would be so bright, and it didn't.
Nope.
Because Mortal Kombat for the Sega CD looks like Mortal Kombat, the cartridge. It just sounds a little better.
Yeah, I would say it looks a little bit better, but not worth you getting another console for it to look a fraction of an inch better. The sound is superior, without a doubt. But
yeah, so that was my own. If I have to complain about anything on the Genesis or Sega CD, it was that compared to the other systems or Nintendo, it was lacking in the color. But Sega did a fantastic job on some of the games. You couldn't even tell. Like Sonic, you couldn't tell there was like a color palette issue.
Yeah, Sonic looked and played great. That was fantastic. I'm not greatly familiar with the Sega CD. So a friend I had growing up, he had a Sega CD. I remember playing Sonic. And I think the other game I put some time into was Night Trap. Because, of course, we wanted to be adults and we were kids. And we were like, oh, this is like an adult game. And it was fine. It was a fine experience, but it was like that FMV, like, oh my god, it was fine. But
Mhm.
Sonic was a good game.
I remember Night Trap, and what sold Night Trap was the fact that it had the girl from Different Strokes in it.
It had her, and then it also was a national story because Night Trap and along with Mortal Kombat was the reason we got the ESRB.
Mm-hmm.
Those two being in national headlines, like, oh, these are horrible, like crazy video games, just made kids want to play them more.
Only possible on the Sega CD. The full motion video games for the Sega CD, there were quite a, I mean, half the library, if not more, were full motion video games. Sewer
True.
Shark, Sewer Shark, you just kind of was just a cursor and you were like blasting away these like radioactive rats in the sewer, but it was like a rail shooter on the backdrop of full motion video.
Yeah, yeah. Look, that was a big feature of a lot of them. Like, oh my
It
god,
was.
this is not even they're not even real graphics. It was just video footage installed on the
Mm-hmm.
CD. Like, but they would sell it to you like it was like, oh, look how realistic this is. It's because it's video footage. It's not.
That's all it was.
It's not an actual game.
Supreme Warrior was another one. It was a first person fighting game, but it was a full motion video.
Let me ask you this because this is a game that's very sought after now, mostly because the person who created is like an auteur in the industry.
Mhm.
Hideo Kojima created Snatcher. I'm very unfamiliar with this game. I don't know much about it at all. Did that have FMV in it as well?
It didn't have FM. It didn't have live action. It had animated sequences.
Okay.
It was Snatcher. Snatcher was great. It was Blade Runner. If you've
Oh,
ever
really?
seen, it was Blade Runner because the
Hmm.
story was you were a cop, and there were androids that looked human, that you were after, and it was very Blade Runner esque as far as the atmosphere, but it was a point and click, and it had some shooting segments in it. Snatcher was really good. I had Snatcher, and I sold it or traded it in because I was a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to buy, and I was like, okay, I know this game is worth some money. I'll go ahead and sell it. And then this is why I don't trade in games, because the minute I got rid of it, I wanted it back.
Look, I've gone through that myself. I traded in. I can count on one hand. Okay, that's not totally true. I've traded in other games before, but like sometimes I'll get games like for free. Like somebody will just give me a game or something, and I want one, and I'll trade it in, or like some other circumstances. But there's been like a total of 3 games
Mm.
that I vividly remember trading in, and I reacquired 2 of them, and I still need to get the third one, which is they were all Genesis games,
Mhm.
and I regretted all those. And I paid not I bought these during a time where people weren't like crazy about Genesis games, so I got them
Mhm.
for like reasonable prices. But now
Okay.
they're like 3 times worth what I paid for them. The second time I paid for them. But the other game, I just need to go get it. Like it's not even a good. It's a terrible game. It's friggin' boring.
What is
But
it?
I just want it because I got rid of it. I was like, why did I get rid of this? Like I got like $4 for this game probably in like 1991. Like what the hell was I thinking?
What game is it?
Shove it. Yeah,
I
nobody's heard of it.
I don't. That's all you, bro.
It's a puzzle game where you move boxes around in a warehouse. It's very boring.
Okay, but you want it.
I want it because I got it as like a birthday gift, and I shouldn't have got rid of it like a few years
Mhm.
after I got it. But I don't know. I just want to have my Genesis collection from when I was a kid, and
Mhm.
I've reacquired everything except for that one game.
Huh.
So
Okay.
I need to get that game back. And the other stuff like that I've gotten rid of, it's like, oh, working at video game stores throughout the years, eventually you get stuff that the company won't accept, and then people just abandon. They're just like, oh, I'll just leave it there. So you're just like, all right, well, whatever, I'll take it home. And then like years later, somebody will like buy it from you. Like, all right, great, I'll sell this for $5. I don't care. So I've traded a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff like that, like whatever. I didn't even want this to begin with. Somebody left this. My company wouldn't take it. So I eventually just traded it into somebody else, like 10 years later, and got $5 for it. But I typically don't like trading things in because I regret it like you.
Yeah, I just stopped doing it. I was like, I can't. It kills me because then it costs me 10 times the amount to try to buy it back.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, Snatcher's very expensive to try to find Snatcher. You're gonna pay for it.
Do you know if some of the other FMB games were expensive right now, like Corpse Killer, Lodestar, Power Rangers, any of those?
Power Rangers, I don't. Let me see. Hold on, let me check my Game Eye.
One
Power
day Game Eye is
Rangers,
going to sponsor us. Like I love Game
they
Eye.
are,
So
man.
look, we don't get paid by them at all, but it is the best free app you could ever buy in your life. It is so good. So good.
This is the best app you've ever introduced to me. I'm like, oh my god, I love it, love it,
You
love it.
get the most recent update is even better. Like I don't understand how they keep making this app better and it's free. It's amazing.
So there, like Lodestar was a full motion video game. That's $20.
That's not bad.
No, Lawnmower Man is full motion video, but it's like the whole VR. That's like $150.
I think that's just because that game's harder to find. I think that game is total trash, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
it's
crap.
just like kind of a little bit more rare, and that's why the price is higher.
Yeah, Power Rangers is full motion video. Again, it was kind of like Dragon's Lair esque, where it was just kind of you watch the video and reacted
Press
to
a
the
button.
video, press the button. But that's Power Rangers is like $25.
Oh, that's nothing.
Nothing crazy, super crazy expensive. That's outside of a few titles. For the majority, the Sega CD didn't have a whole. None of their games are like super expensive right now.
I mean,
There's a
that's
few.
good for. I think the console's kind of expensive, but it's good if you're trying to collect some of the games for the system if they're not too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple standouts that are, like Fatal Fury for the Sega CD is like a $500 game.
Man.
Fatal Fury Special.
Look, there's some games where if you could say it was like, oh, this game's $500, I'd be like, oh, I would pay $500 for that. Fatal Fury isn't one of those games.
Yeah, it's pretty up there. But you're talking about the full motion video games, like or we were talking about the full motion video with like Power Rangers and stuff, and the Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair has come out on every platform in existence.
They've made in the past, I would say 2 or 3 years, they've made those like quarter size arcades. They're like desktop. You just sit them on like your desktop.
Mm-hmm.
They made a Dragon's Lair one of those a few years ago. So it's literally like been released a billion times.
A billion times. I wound up just buying it again for the Switch, the Dragon's Lair trilogy, Dragon's Lair 1, 2, and Space Ace. But Dragon's Lair and Space Ace have been released on everything. But because it was on Sega CD, we expected it to look really good, like as close to the arcade as possible. It was a little grainy, but it was still Dragon's Lair. It was still fun to play. I loved it because then that was that whole animated games. Time Gal was another.
It truly, when it came out of the arcade, it truly looked like you were playing a cartoon at that time, even though it doesn't look like it's that much fun to play. I've never played Dragon's Lair. I have no desire to play Dragon's Lair.
Oh man,
it looks like a cartoon, and I couldn't care any less about Dragon's Lair.
well, again, I just being an arcade kid, man. It was with Dragon's Lair. It was $1 to play. It was $1 to play, and just seeing like what you were seeing in front of you was truly amazing.
I mean,
it was a cartoon.
For me personally, I'd rather take that dollar and put it into a pinball machine and play any pinball machine you can point out in an arcade, and put $1 into that and play that, with 4 quarters instead of one play of Dragon's Lair.
No, that was it. And then Space Ace came out and just improved upon that. And again, Sega CD did it. So I bought that just because. And then you had a lot of the Japanese animated games were kind of fun, like Road Avenger, Time Gal. Again, it was like a cartoon, and then you had to react to a certain sequence or certain thing on the screen, and then if you did it right or in time, then it would continue on. If not, you died, and you had to do it all over again. That was a Sega CD, man. There was some standouts. There was some standouts. Some people love it, some people hate it. I really found a lot of enjoyment, and probably because what I went through to get it.
Yeah,
I think I forced myself to love it. But there was I have some fond memories. The Earthworm Jim. We talked about Earthworm Jim earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It came out on Sega CD. with some enhancements. Again, the CD sound was an improvement, and it sounded great on cartridge.
Enhancements.
Yeah, I know. Earthworm Jim special. Good times, man. Good times.